What is up, everybody? I hope you guys can hear me well. I'm assuming everybody's going to hear. Let me try that again. I assume that everybody can hear me okay. I'm going to try to sit in the space that I'm supposed to be sitting in. I've always sit over here, which is like kind of in the corner and gives you all this space over here. And I just kind of feel like I need to be like somewhere in the middle. How is everybody doing? I am Mr. Christopher. I am your host. This is Funkatopia Live. And if you're just joining us for the first time, this is actually the Funkatopia Live pre-show. So stay right where you are. Just stay with us. The official show will start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome, one and all. I have some funny things to share for the pre-show that I thought was absolutely hilarious. Actually, I was going to do this later. I was going to do this after the interview tonight. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and just be clear about what we have going on. I don't see any Facebook people joining us right now, which is really, really weird. I'm making sure nothing is going on with Facebook. Actually, it says I'm live. So just any Facebook people out there, because for some reason you guys there's no Facebook people that are feeding in here. This is kind of weird. I think I'm going to disconnect and reconnect because something's going on with Facebook. It seems like, I don't know. Let me see. Anybody? Oh, okay. Facebook is there. My bad. All right. You guys are just really quiet, which is really strange because normally it is the opposite of Facebook and YouTube. Normally Facebook people are the only ones that are speaking and YouTube's quiet. But anyways, so I have a couple funny things. I was going to save this for after the interview tonight. I'll get back on track. Where tonight we welcome the one and only Adam Smirnoff, aka Shmeeans, guitarist from Lettuce, is going to be here tonight. We are going to be just going hardcore. I have seen these guys so many times. It's kind of ridiculous how many times I've seen Lettuce. And primarily because of the fact that I was really close with all the group over at Bear Creek. I don't know if you guys remember Bear Creek or even if Bear Creek was ever in your area, but essentially what Bear Creek was this amazing funk festival that happened. And they just incredible shows. Some of the really cool ones were in this location called Live Oak, Florida, which is this little area of Florida after you get over the Georgia line where you pull off and there's nothing there, like no McDonald's or gas stations or anything. You make a right, kind of go for about a little under a mile, and then you turn down this dirt road and you go into the woods. And there's like concert stages set up everywhere. And it's just a really, really cool venue. Anyways, I've seen a lot of different festivals with Lettuce in them, and they always seem to play the Bear. We're going to talk about the Bear Creek music festivals. But anyways, let me say hello to some folks. Dave, what's going on? Andrew, Christina, Susie, Amy, Lori, Krista, April. April's been here for a while, so I'm glad. I'm glad that you guys are here because tonight we're going to have a lot of fun. Yes, we are going to talk Purple News. That is absolutely going to happen because there has been. It's not really Purple News, but I feel like anytime we kind of get a little smattering of information, it's important to share. But none of this stuff is new, although a new graphic popped up that we're going to talk about that kind of shares some insight into things that are coming in 2025. And we're going to talk about that. But anyways, after the interview, I was going to share this. There's a couple of funny things. You guys know, excuse me. You guys know that I've been talking off and on for those who watch the show on a regular basis. I've been talking off and on about the fact that I did a United Way commercial many, many, many years ago, 1988, something like that. And I've also been telling you that I've been having problems finding a VCR to get it or whatever. Guess what? I found the videotape and I found a VCR and I recorded the commercial. And if you guys are interested in seeing it, I will show it to you. But it's myself I was hired to do the commercial, and they said, "Hey, do you have any friends, that could, join you in this commercial?" And I was like, "Rob." And so Rob Rhythm is also in this video. He's actually the first person that you see in the video. He's handing this girl a drink and enticing her into a car. And I am the driver of the car. And it was done at the Varsity Junior in downtown Atlanta. And essentially what it is, it's a drunk driving commercial. And we shot it with Gerald Riggs from the Atlanta Falcons. And where I'm in a car with a bunch of other teenagers, and Rob Rhythm is also in the car, and he talks this girl into getting into the car. And it's a drunk driving commercial for United Way. And it took me forever to find this. And it is so funny. Now, knowing that the first person you're going to see is Rob Rhythm taking this drink from this girl, or me driving the car, those are the two people that you're going to know in this video. You have to see this. This is just insane. You guys do want to see this? I'm curious if you even want to see this. I'm going to go ahead and play it. Just enjoy and tell me what you think.
Unfortunately, too many teenage parties begin mixing drinking and driving.
And this is where those parties end. I'm Gerald Riggs of the Atlanta Falcons, and I know that the leading cause of death among teenagers is driving while under the influence of alcohol.
Someone's son, someone's daughter, lost forever in the prime of life. That's why he talks to young people, telling them about the problems of drinking and driving. He knows that if he could get to young people early enough, he could save lives.
That's one more reason why the program is important to me. This is my wife, Duran, and son, Gerald. I want us to help all our children avoid the dangers of drinking and driving. Thanks to you, it works. For all of us, the United Way.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
I watched that video and I'm just like, oh my God, I am so friggin' old. Now, obviously, the funniest part and the one that I wanted you to see the whole commercial, but I will play the commercial one more time, just the part that Rob and I are in that very, very beginning, just so you can kind of see that one more time. I'll play it one more time. This is hilarious.
Unfortunately, too many teenage parties begin mixing drinking and driving.
I just think that's, hey, what are you doing? Get out of the way. I don't even think I could even do that anymore. That's just so funny. Anyways, wow. Oh, that's funny you say it. Man says great at primo acting. Yeah, right. I mean, if you watch 80s movies and things like that and sitcoms, it's not horrible. I mean, I've seen some pretty horrible stuff. But what's funny is that I had actually been doing stage plays and stuff. So I was acting back then. And also when I came to Atlanta, I did some work at Callan Wald and some things. But it's funny because it's just so strange the way things go. First off, what's funny about that video, I didn't even have my driver's license. So I am driving this car. I didn't even have my license. So the director just did not do his job. Not only drinking and driving, but I'm sure there's some cause of deaths of people driving cars that aren't licensed to do so. Man, oh man, tonight's going to be so much fun. Adam Smirnoff's going to be joining us, and I am just very, very happy. Listen, here's the other funny thing that I wanted to share with you. I don't know if anybody has ever posted YouTube videos, but when you post YouTube videos, what's really funny is when people comment, and you get an alert when somebody comments. And sometimes videos are really, really old, because I've been doing this for a really long time, but somebody will make a comment on a video, and I have to rewatch the video to remember what they're talking about. This one came in for something not too long ago. we did a special on the Prince documentary. I don't remember how many months ago this was, but we did. I can't. What we? This was the whole thing when the estate basically had issues with releasing the Netflix video, and there was like a whole debacle going on, and everybody's wanting to release, and they were. This is when all this stuff started going online, and Londell and Charles were kind of going back and forth online with the public about, we're not releasing this movie that's a hit piece and blah 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 blah. So I did a special. Now the problem is, as I will tell you, is that when I do these types of specials, when there's kind of, again, no net and there's no concrete information or news articles or something that I'm looking at, the show can go one way or the other. But I will tell you that typically, if you see me kind of, well, let me just read this. I want you guys to, I need you guys to see this, this post because it is so friggin' funny. I have to show. And just so you know, Shmeeans is in the green room right now. He's adjusting his camera and whatnot. But anyways, I want you guys to see this because this is the funniest review I have ever gotten on a YouTube video that I did. And basically what it is this is Kevin Lucan 8558 says, first time tuning into this podcast. An honest question. Is the host always this challenged to articulate thought? He appears to continually repeat words over and over while saying nothing, hinting at getting somewhere while hardly getting anywhere. I have, let me just say, when I read that review, I laughed out loud. I just thought it was the funniest thing the funniest review that's ever been given about me. But first off, that special, as I mentioned, was just a hobnobbery, hackneyed cluster fudge. Basically, I felt that I had to do this special to kind of talk about the documentary issues that were happening at the time in the heat of Londell and Charles doing all this back and forth with you guys. And secondly, I can't recall which one of them, but when I was doing that show, one of them was in the chat room. I saw them in the chat room. And so everything I was going to say boldly just kind of went out the window. So it's completely unscripted at this point. Then, as I said before, it's a live show and I'm alone. Solo, one-man show. And the reality is that I just can't do it all. But I think it's really funny that if you ever see me get flustered or, start being repetitive, and it looks like I'm spiraling, I'm really not spiraling. It's basically something is happening behind the scenes that you can't see. Those are the times when, somebody is texting me things like, don't say that on the air, or frantically Facebook messaging me, or, a guest is having issues on the, it can be any variety of different things. But anyways, I just wanted to tell you that is one of the challenges that I was talking about when we do the show every single week live without a net. It's just, sometimes it goes smoothly, sometimes it doesn't. Hopefully Kevin Lucan 8558 will give us another chance, but that was so hilarious when I read that. And I hope you guys don't feel the same way. I mean, nobody else has left a comment on this, I guess, unless it's one of those scenarios where if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. All right, we're going to take this pre-show banner down because I want to welcome a guest. And let me just say, it's an honor to have him in the house. I'm just going to tell you, because we're talking about lettuce here, obviously. Adam Deitch and Nigel Hall have been on this show previously, but this is actually the first appearance for our guest tonight. Funk Jam guitarist legend who actively tours with Lettuce, but has also toured with Lady Gaga, Robert Randolph and the Family Band, and others. And he is the co-founder of the amazing band Lettuce. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the one, the only, Adam Shmeeans Smirnoff. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's happening? What's happening, man? Fighting a little something if my voice sounds a little froggy.
No, it sounds great, man. I'm glad you're doing well. How is the family?
They're wonderful. Thank you.
Good.
We had an incredible holidays, and was very excited to get them back to school today. To be honest,
You have two kids now, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, congrats. Two girls, girl and boy, or
girl and a boy. I got a matching set.
Nice, fantastic, amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Man, it's an honor having you on here. And this is actually probably one of the first times that I have ever seen you not wear New York hat or shirt. It's every time you do an interview, you wear a New York hat or a New York.
Yeah, well, after three Knicks losses in a row, I decided to rock the
Oh,
let us gear today, change it up.
yeah, that was one of the reasons why I didn't wear my Falcons jersey tonight. But
There it is. Superstitions run wild.
yeah, it is what it is. But it's okay. I can't hurt anything. The season is over, so it's nothing I can damage. Uh, I don't think that I don't think I know this, and many Lettuce fans are probably rolling their eyes right now because maybe they know all the details, kind of like us Prince fans know about Prince. But a lot of people just don't know, where did the nickname Shmeeans come from?
Well, my last name, my name is Adam Smirnoff, just like the vodka. And growing up, ever since I could remember, like the kids in my school would be like, "Yo, Smurns, Smurns, Smurns," and then I met the lettuce guys, and they were like, "No, it's like Smirnoff. It's Shmeans." So it became Shmeans. And I think I used to fight it a little bit. And then, the more I fought it, the more it stuck. And then eventually it was just like, all right, this is what it is.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, and let's talk a little bit about, for those who are new to Lettuce. Let's start with two things. First, kind of give people an idea who have not listened to your music. I've seen you guys so many times live. I don't even know how many times I've seen you guys, but um, kind of give people an idea. If you're doing an elevator pitch for Lettuce, how would you give an elevator pitch? And then let's talk about the origin of Lettuce for those newcomers here.
I would say, we play genre-less psychedelic funk music that's post hip hop era. And we are exploratory. We improvise. We make stuff up on the spot. We're not just improvisers like a jazz improviser, like a soloist. We improvise as a unit where it's almost like live writing, live producing. And, I think there you go. That's my answer.
So, and how did origin start? I mean, what is the origin story of Lettuce? I'm sorry.
I mean, the origin story is a bunch of kids who were, doing something at the time that was really like kind of made us feel like outcasts in some way. It wasn't the hip thing to do.
Yeah.
That we were, playing jam music at, or hip hop music or funk music at Berkeley School of Music. Everyone there was like rock and roll or jazz. And it was kind of like we didn't fall under those categories, and we found each other because those were our loves, and we shared those loves. And that's really what brought us together. That's our origin story. And
Man,
we were young. This was originally like, this was a 5-week program for 16-year-olds when we met. So it's been going on a long time now.
that's awesome. That's awesome. And there's so many members. It's just amazing to me. And all of them are very, very proficient at their instruments. So, I mean, you got a lot of prolific writers that are in Lettuce. I mean, between, Adam and Nigel, yourself, Jesus. I mean, these are, how does the band go about typically writing tracks? Is pretty much every session where you're coming up with new material a jam session, a mixture
No,
of,
no. There's not one way. I would say that,
okay.
there's there's many ways to get to a finish line, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
not like it's not formulaic where it's like, oh, you do this and you do this, you do this, you do this, and it's a finished song. There have been times where you come up with something on the spot and that becomes something. There are other times where each member might have a complete idea and bring it to the band. Adam, to me, is the best at that in the band. He's just such a prolific writer
Yeah.
and comes up with so much stuff. It's amazing to be around him. You know, I've always felt that way since I was 16 years old. And to be honest, I feel that way about all the guys. Like, and every one of these guys, to me, I've always looked up to. They're multi instrumentalists. They're able to express their ideas in so many different ways. So someone might come with a demo. Someone might come with an unfinished demo, and then you round it out. Sometimes we send tunes around to each other and a part gets added. Sometimes we start playing stuff live and a whole other section will come about, or horn line will be made up by Zoidus or Bloom. Um, you know, maybe Nigel writes lyrics and a melody to a song. So, you know, you try and stay open to different methods of creativity.
Yeah.
And
That's always awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, especially for a band, for what you guys do, you're very improvisational. Um, One of the last few times, I mean, I haven't seen you guys in years now, but I saw you a lot, especially during the Bear Creek days. Um, when you guys used to do so many different variants. Benny would have his own thing. Nigel would be playing off on his own thing, and you guys would do all these, culminations and things with So Live and whoever else. It was always so interesting to kind of watch that happen and watch that dynamic. Um, Unfortunately, Bear Creek, I was just talking about this. The Bear Creek, they just kind of stopped. I think the Bayou one in 2016 was probably the last one. Are there any other festivals that are like that? I know you guys are doing a jam cruise, but something festival like that is kind of similar that is out there for people?
I mean, I think there's so much to be had. You know, I feel like we hold and I loved Bear Creek. And we still play at the Spirit of Swanee all the time. Halloween, and I think we have the Swanee Fest coming up
Yeah,
this year. Um, but I feel like as you get older, you tend to hold on to these things that might have introduced you to something. And you keep it in a you put it in a place like of super high regard. But my point being is that there's all these incredible festivals around the country
yeah,
that I feel lucky to be a part of because we play for new audiences. We play for younger people and people who have might never have heard Lettuce or doesn't have that experience that you had. And
right.
that for them might be that moment of some sort of awakening in them, creativity or musically, and they're going to hold that time, that space in that high regard, you
Yeah, I mean,
know?
when you have like shows and festivals like that, I think the one benefit of concerts like this, and this is pretty much the roundabout for all music festivals, is that it really introduces you to similar artists. Like, to find you guys and then find, Soul Live and find Revivalist and find like all these hit STS9 and all these different bands, and you're like, the Floozies, and it's just that type of connectivity, and just being able to discover all these bands in one location is just amazing. And I'm so glad that you guys are still doing the circuit whenever you can. And I can tell everybody here, if you've never seen Let Us Live, you have to experience it. Very Grateful Dead in that way. Like, a lot of people, you just have to experience Let Us Live. There's just no way around it. You have to get there and see it and experience it yourself. Do you feel
You
like
know, and
there's
I think part of that too is, you know, shout out to the audience that comes and sees us, you know?
yeah,
It's incredible to be with them.
Yep.
It's a family in some way, and I think that there's something grassroots about it.
Right.
I had an awakening moment when I was like 18 at a Fish concert, when I was like, oh man, you know, this was during an era where the only people who could fill sheds like that were on MTV or hits on the radio. When I went there and I said, wow, you could build something grassroots and do it like that, and in in a similar way to Grateful Dead and Fish, is that we built something organically. And, if you get to experience that from the audience side, you're gonna feel that love from the Lettuce family and the Lettuce heads out there. And aside from the musical element.
And one of the things I noticed when I saw you guys at Bear Creek Bayou, and I've seen it at other locations too, and other festivals, is that the bootleggers are everywhere. Like there are like microphones everywhere. And I don't think I've ever heard anything regarding, and I think that the funk jam bands typically kind of embrace bootlegging. It's a really good distribution system, and you're going to depend on those people to come to your shows and buy your merchandise and buy your albums when they officially come out, and just kind of gives them an opportunity to relive that. Tell me how the band feels about bootlegging in general. Did I nail it, or do you guys feel totally opposite about that?
Well, let me go back then to when we were teenagers and we'd be in the jam room and we'd play for hours, and then that magic moment happens, like, oh my god, we we got somewhere where we had never been before. We had created something that to all of us felt so good. And we'd go back to the tape player and the tape had run out. And that part was missing. We'd call it God's music. That was God. Oh, you'll only hear it
Yeah.
when your time has come at the end. And we used to joke about that a little bit. But my point being that the recordings for us are amazing because that magic moment might happen, during a gig. And you'd be
Right.
like, man, no one was recording that. And thank goodness that these people who spent their time and energy to record it, captured it, and we're able to go back and listen to it. And maybe from that, maybe a new tune exists. And we were able to go back and listen to it and enjoy it. So, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. And I think there's so many bands that are like that. I mean, and we talked about this, uh, not you and I, but I've talked about this in the past, that Prince really fought against it hard. I mean, I don't know how avidly you watch this channel. We've kind of been off and on, but very, very Prince heavy group here. And I know that Prince fought against it hard because he just kind of felt like, and I think in his regard, people were taking them, making them into a product and then selling it. And that was what was problematic to him. You're never concerned that that's going to happen with you?
Not really.
There you go. I do have to ask you, since we're talking about, since I just
I'll
brought
tell
up,
you what, some of those Prince bootlegs that hit me too
oh, I
changed my
know,
guitar
right?
playing.
Right? Oh my
Changed
God.
my guitar playing, changed my approach. He is
Right.
absolutely one of my favorite guitar players of all time. Any guitar player who says different is just not, I don't know.
Haven't listened.
No, I don't know that. I don't know if it's haven't listened. I mean, Prince is for certain people. He touches. This is how I feel about all music. That all music isn't for everybody. Music is. You still there? I'm getting the spinning circle.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
you're okay right now. I can still hear you.
good. All right. That certain music is supposed to touch certain people at certain times. And
Right. I believe that.
Prince happened to be that for me. And I was preaching the gospel of Prince for a very long time. And,
Yeah. Adam
you
Deitch
know,
actually. Adam
maybe
Deitch.
not everyone feels the way I do. That's cool.
Oh, we lost him. He dropped off. If you're listening to audio, he dropped off. He'll be right back. I'm sure he's going to figure out that he's disconnected. He'll get in a place of better connection and then he'll join back. Again, another one of the challenges of doing this show live. Here he is. He's coming back on right now. Hold on. As soon as he gets in, there he is. You
All right,
there?
back. So I was just saying that, you know, I play guitar the way that I play guitar because of everyone I've ever heard in my life and people who have moved me. And Prince was one of those big, big people for me.
Yeah, Adam. I told Adam that I was going to be interviewing you, and that's one of the things he told me. He said, you make sure that you ask him about Prince. Because, and here's another thing too. I saw an interview that you did on what was it? Live, what was the Live Producers Online, I think is the name of the show, and they kind of talk about Ableton and whatnot. And I see you wearing an NPG jacket. Yeah, I see you wearing an NPG jacket. I'd love to hear the story about this NPG jacket.
There's not much of a story for that one.
I mean, that's not an easy to find jacket.
You know, recently in the Prince estate released it last Christmas. I asked my dad to get it for me. He did.
Okay.
I told you there's not much of a story for that one.
Well, Adam said there was like some story that you were going to probably bust into if we started talking about Prince. Obviously, we could talk Prince all day long because I'm with you. I mean, he is, to me, I don't think that there's just no equivalent to how just his mastery on all the instruments, including voice, and so proficient at all of them, and the volume of music that this man created, where it's like quadruple the biggest artist that you can think of. Think of how many albums Aerosmith has released in its life and multiply that times 4. And I don't even know that it's the same number. So I'm with you. Total agreement.
I mean, there were some stories. I don't know which one he's thinking about. I mean, to me, some of the biggest ones are like,
he's frozen. I'm not frozen. He's frozen. You're frozen, Adam. I'll wait till his connection comes back.
I first get this here. Here we go.
You there?
All right.
If you want to switch to just audio, you can switch to just audio if that's easier, because that might improve the connection, and that way you don't have to worry about having such a strong connection to manage both video and audio. So maybe just try audio. It's fine. We know what your face looks like. We can memorize it. I'm hoping that he's getting this message because right now he's kind of spinning. But you there?
Abby?
Yeah, I got you.
I'm here.
All right, cool. All good.
Cool.
Can fix it in post.
It was that summer program. There were some freshmen who stayed behind for the summer semester or sophomore. I don't remember what it was. But, you know, we always looked up to the older kids at the music school. And there was this drummer. And he was like, "Oh, you guys are into funk? All right. I like you guys." And I remember, like, he took me up to his room. He showed me great videos, a lot of Dennis Chambers stuff, some of the drum day videos. Said, "What are you listening to?" Oh man, is this really giving us trouble connecting?
Yeah, it still is a little bit maybe attached to your Wi-Fi and not
Right.
why on your
Wi-Fi. I'm fine. I'm back on Wi-Fi.
yeah. Okay. Now,
All
who
right.
was this that brought you up to his room and did all this?
This was John Blackwell.
Oh man, I thought he hasn't said the name yet. He's waiting. That's the drop.
Yeah, that was John Blackwell, who, as you know, then eventually played for Cameo, and then eventually played for Prince. I got to see him Madison Square Garden play for Prince.
The One Night Alone tour.
I forget which tour it was. I don't
That
remember.
was like technically people call that the Rainbow Children tour also, but
Yeah,
it was.
it was that era.
Oh my god, that band. Renato Neto on keys, Rhonda on bass, John Blackwell on drums. I mean, that was the monster band.
Yeah. I also saw Rhonda play with Jeff Beck at the Crossroads Festival in Chicago. That was during my Robert Randolph time. That was one of the best performances I ever saw too. It was
Yeah,
moving.
that's
Um,
incredible.
oh, ESPN. And there was also, Rashawn Ross used to play trumpet in Lettuce before he went to the Dave Matthews Band. And there was a time before Leroy had passed, the original saxophone player.
Right.
He was just starting to play with them. And we were out in California, and he was like, oh, Leroy's going to take us out for lunch. And we drove up the coast, and we went to this incredible seafood restaurant. And he treated us. It was so beautiful. He was such a kind, sharing guy. And afterwards, he was like, yeah, there's a private show at I'm trying to remember what spot it was in LA, but maybe it was the Mint or something like that. But it was like a 250 person venue, and it was a private Prince show. So he's like, we're going to go get you in. And we get there, and he's not on the list, and we can't get in. And then eventually we see this girl who's the promoter of the show who used to work in New York. And she's like, Lettuce, oh, you guys want to come in and see the show? So it turned out we ended up bringing Roy into the show. It all worked out. And, I got to see Prince up close. That was an incredible time too. It's crazy that these moments are so fleeting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And I think that kind of goes back to the bootlegging thing that we were talking about, about those moments being captured because, and it's funny, before I even came online, in I keep saying next year, it's 2025. 2025 is the 20th anniversary of Funkatopia. Been around for a really long time. Thank you. I've been going around and taking these shows and putting them up online because just like you said, the moment can happen when you're done. And then, where's all the documentation of the things that you've done while you're here? It's just, yeah, I totally get. Have you ever thought about, are you familiar with Bob Schneider?
The comedian?
No, Bob Schneider,
that's Rob Schneider.
Yeah. Bob Schneider he's a guitarist, performer. He's got a few different bands, but Bob Schneider anyways, he is like he records all of his shows as he's playing them backstage from the board. And then he somehow replicates those CDs right there. And so 30 minutes after the show, you can buy the CD of the show that you just saw. I'm like, that's genius, because bootleggers won't even bother because you're doing it and you can capture it if you want. Has Lettuce ever considered or even heard of anything like that or doing something like that?
Yeah, I mean, we have hundreds of shows up on nugs.net.
Oh yeah. Now Nugs charges a membership fee to get it. Do you guys get a
That's the same difference. Instead of paying for CD, you pay for the membership.
right? Okay, that's cool. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Uh, I'm gonna name an artist, and that Lettuce or yourself has collaborated with, and if you can, maybe share a quick story about that artist during the recordings of these collabs.
We'll see how well I can remember this stuff. All right.
Let's start with Wu-Tang Clan. Let's start there.
Okay. I mean, there was two separate things that we did. First of all, some of us did an entire Liquid Swords tour with Jizza, which
Yes.
is absolutely incredible. And he's great to be around. He likes to play chess. He's a music head. And then the other stuff is when we did the Bonnaroo Super Jam, which is with, I think that was Redman, Jizza, RZA. I'm trying to remember who else was there. See, I'm telling you, my memory.
This is ridiculous.
But and DJ Jazzy Jeff was there, and I mean, to me, Jeff just brought that whole thing together. I mean, he's everything was a party. Everything what felt like we were part of, being a music historian, enjoying those moments together. That was a great show.
Now, I thought that you and Jizza were still doing this tour. Isn't this is still going January, February?
Well, that's different. We were his band for that. This coming up is like Jizza has his band, they play, and then we play, and then hopefully there will be collaboration, which I'm pretty sure there will be. Of us and Jizza together. So it's a little different.
Wow. That's very cool.
It should be dope.
Yeah, and because I wanted to get some more information about that, because I knew that you guys had done the whole Liquid Swords thing, and I thought that he was just coming along and you guys were his backup band, and this is like another extension of that.
I think we toyed with some of those ideas, but this is how he wanted it, and we respect anything he wants to do. And if we want to have this work out, which obviously we did, and you gotta sometimes, find the middle ground. And I mean,
Jizza's not coming to, you're coming to Atlanta or Athens. I can't remember which of the two. And that's one of the stops that he's not there. So I'm like, oh no, well, I'll go see Lettuce anyways. So it's all good. I haven't seen you guys in a while. All right, let's go to the next artist, Shaka Khan.
That is one of those moments that were like, yo, we didn't get that recorded.
Whoa, are you serious?
Like, where is the multi-track of that one? That was so much fun. Her bass player and background singers came out and rehearsed us.
What do you mean rehearsed you? Rehearsed with you?
He had to co-sign it and make sure that go tell Shaka yeah, they're cool to play with, or she might back out. That's what it felt like. It felt like an audition.
I know, one of those. Yeah, I know.
He's gonna come along and be like, yeah, they're cool. You can play with them. They know the stuff. They learned it.
Did we pass? Oh my gosh,
that was incredible.
All right. What about
come true? And then at the same time, oh man, we don't have the recording of that. That one hurt. That one hurt.
Now, was it just a jam session, or did you guys play some of her songs, or what was happening?
No, we played. She ain't playing our songs.
No, but I didn't know if it was like a jam session where you guys were just kind of jamming around and she was scatting.
No, we were at a big festival, and it was like Lettuce featuring Shaka Khan, and we did
There
the
you go.
Shaka Khan portion of the set with their background singers coming out.
Oh my gosh, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
I gotta find that. I'm gonna have to rejoin Nugs.
No, it's not on there. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying. I wish
Justin
it were on
Timberlake.
there.
Justin Timberlake.
I never worked with him. That was Deitch. That was Deitch in the studio. So that's not a question for me.
All right. What about? Okay, I don't know why it attached it to lettuce, because I was asking the same thing. I said I don't remember this happening. Maybe this is the same thing. Stevie Wonder.
Uh-oh. What about what?
Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder.
I wish I've worked with Stevie Wonder. I mean, Stevie Wonder was my first favorite artist ever in the history of my life. My parents used to put on Intervisions on headphones for me as a baby to get me to stop crying.
That is the best, in my opinion. That is his best album, like ever. But
I mean, that's arguable. To me,
it is.
you know, it's one of those, you know, it's one of those special moments in my life. Like, so I hold that album dear as well.
All right. I have to ask you, for the guitarist in the audience, what is your gig setup right now?
My gig setup, I'm playing kind of like a modified Gibson 330. Is it down here? Is it right here? I got a lot of guitars here. I've got like a 335 style Gibson guitar right now.
Nice.
I play my whole life. I've played through Fender Twins. I really haven't changed that, except recently I started using kind of this. I don't have my pedal stuff with me here. I'd go through it and look at you. Look. I got kind of like a simulator thing that sounds really good in my
Oh,
ears. And aside from that, I keep it pretty simple. Wah pedal, delay, a Mutron, and I have an original Mutron that actually my wife gave me as an anniversary gift. That the box said, "What does Stevie Wonder, Bootsy Collins, and Jerry Garcia have in common?" And I opened it up, and it was like a 1970s Mutron, and I was like, "Oh my god!" So I have that, and then I use like a Eventide H90 for like modulation effects, just to kind of get my board a little tighter. I've used the Tube Screamer for years. That's about it. I keep it pretty simple.
very cool. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but congratulations, because this year you guys landed on Funkatopia's 20 best funk albums of 2024. I think every Lettuce album finds its way on the best of funk list if it was released, just because it's some of the best out there. The one that's on the list this for last year is Live in Tokyo. Of all of your shows, tell me the significance of that Tokyo show. I mean, you guys have so many shows. What was the significance of that show for you? I think he's frozen again. He's frozen again. But I think it was a pretty relevant question. We'll see when he comes back if he can tell me what the significance of the album is. And before he comes back, he dropped off. Before he comes back, I will tell you that, as I mentioned, Funkatopia has a 20 best funk albums of 2024 that was released last week. I hope you guys got an opportunity to check it out, because there's some amazing, amazing artists that are on there. And I also created a playlist of the 20 best funk albums of 2024 on the Funkatopia site, and you can actually view like tracks from each one of them. But Lettuce's album Live in Tokyo is on there, and Adam is now back with us. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I switched to my computer.
So I don't know how much of the question that you heard. Do you need me to repeat it?
I missed it.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I didn't know if you knew this or not, but Lettuce, congratulations. You guys landed on Funkatopia's 20 best funk albums of 2024. And as I said, it seems like Lettuce albums always find their way on there because it is the best funk out there every year. I mean, if you guys have released an album, it's going to be among the best funk albums because you guys are so amazing at what you do. But Live in Tokyo is the album that landed on the list. What is the significance of that show for the band to release it?
I mean, that was, I think that's the 20th anniversary of that album, right?
I think so. I have to look at the years, but I believe you're probably right. Yeah.
And, you know, since that time, we became a lot better at putting stuff out on vinyl. And that album had never been on vinyl before. So I think we went back and we released Outta Here, our first album that had never had that. And then Live in Tokyo was the next in line. I think Rage after that, we did. That was the first one. So I think we wanted to go back and remaster it and put a couple tracks on there, like that people had never heard, different versions of tunes, because you know, we had gone out to Japan. It was our first time going out there. It was a double bill of Michelle and Dege Nicello and us, and we would play every night. We recorded the whole thing and then kind of took the tracks that we thought represented us the best and kind of edited it together. And you know, obviously there were other parts of that record that people had never heard, other parts of those shows. So I believe there's a Flu out there that has like a Rashawn Ross solo on it. And I forget what else is on there, but you know, that album was very significant to us. There was a time where Lettuce really wasn't the focus of a lot of us as far as being like a full-time project. It was kind of just like something we did every once in a while, and we kept it going. But we were all working for other people or doing different projects. And I remember there was a lot of time that I got to travel a lot of this country. I was really lucky to be out there with, to me, a really great version of Robert Randolph and the Family Band.
Great band.
I remember being out there. I specifically remember being in Indiana and people being like, hey, man, you know, we're huge Lettuce fans. Live in Tokyo changed my life. And
wow.
Like, whoa, cool. And then it kind of kept happening. I'd go to another place that we'd never been to. These are spots Lettuce had never gone to. And people would be like, we're waiting for Lettuce. And I remember getting really gung-ho at that point and being like, hey, guys, can we see if this can work? Because there were a lot of like, you know, people who were telling us like, yo, this can't work. It can't work financially. It can't work logistically. And, you know, my advice to any band or any musician out there is just don't listen to those people.
You can't. You can't as a band. If you start getting obsessed with numbers, just wrap it up.
It's not just numbers. It's just that with any idea that you have, if it's never been done before, people aren't supposed to share your vision. That's why it's your vision. That's why you have to find a way to get it done, right? If everyone had that vision, everyone would be doing it.
Right.
So, you know, I would say try and brush off when people don't get mad at someone for not sharing your vision, right? That's why it's yours. But find a way of getting it done. And somehow, because we all believed in this, we were able to kind of get this off the ground and started realizing like, wow, there is a way for us to do this out there, and we can live the dream.
Man, yeah, I mean, it's excellent advice, and I hope there are some young musicians out there that will listen to it, because yeah, it's important not to give up your dream. If that's, if God gave you the ability to play guitar or play drums or sing, then you need to use it. That's what you're supposed to do. If you get a gift, use the gift, and don't worry about, like Adam says, don't worry about what other people say and think. Do you? And that's fantastic advice. So I got to ask you though, we're in 2025. What do Lettuce Heads have to look forward to this year? What's coming?
Well,
I can tell you though, let me stop you though. There's a big announcement tomorrow for Lettuce fans that we can't talk about.
Tune in tomorrow.
So you need to tune in tomorrow for
that channel at time.
We will announce what that announcement is tomorrow on Funkatopia once they officially announce it. But got to make sure we don't get in trouble and talk about that. But what are some other things coming up in 2025?
I would say that you're going to have different versions of Lettuce popping up here and there. You're gonna have the special thing that's happening tomorrow. We're trying to be really prolific and put out a lot of material. We recorded a whole other studio album. Whether we're going to put those out individually as singles or as an album yet, we're not really quite sure. We're trying to figure out the best way of going about it. And then there are some other live shows that are out there that we have mixed and recorded, and that should be hitting too. We're really we've taken a little bit of a break right now, and we go back out in like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you right now, when we get back together, we're all going to be hungry. We're all going to be really hungry to play, which is going to be really fun. I can't wait. I can't wait to play guitar again with, my friends.
Oh man, I bet. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in Atlanta. Now, is this tour that you're doing with, I guess some stops have Jizza on them, others don't, but
That's
is this going to be a culmination of different members of Lettuce, or is this going to be the core group?
No, it's going to be the core group.
Very good. I mean, that's nothing wrong. I love seeing those different, like the Bear Creek All-Star stuff where it's just like, oh my gosh, it's like so much happening. It's just incredible. I mean, whenever you can, get George Porter Jr. or, Zigaboo and all these people to kind of, come in just out of the blue, it's like, man, come on. This
how lucky are we as musicians to be able to play with, like, to me, the OG legends, right?
Yeah.
George, Zig, Leo, right?
Bernard Purdy. I mean, these guys.
Well, I've never gotten a chance to play with Purdy, but the original JBs, Mason, Pee Wee before he passed, Fred.
You guys ever done anything with the Stone City Band?
Maybe.
You guys need to connect. Rick James Stone City Band still.
Oh no, we haven't. No, definitely.
They are still out there touring and still out there. If there was some way we could get the two of you in the same location, that would be.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they were amazing, and they're fantastic. So oh man, that would be just incredible. Man, I am so looking forward to 2025 and everything that's coming the way with Lettuce. I also heard rumors that you got some new 7-inch releases that are going to be coming with like Monorail
and stuff. Yep.
Man, that's going to be friggin' awesome. It is an honor to have you on here, man, for real. And I'm glad you're here. Before I cut you loose, though, anyway, I could get a bumper for you. I always do this live, and people are like, "That's kind of weird to do," but you can say something. if you can just say, this is Shmeeans from Lettuce and you're listening to Funkatopia, we'll put it on the radio broadcast that we have.
Hey, this is Shmeeans from Lettuce, and you're listening to Funktopia.
Perfect. That's it, man. Oh, man. I hope you're doing good. I hope that throat clears up. I don't want to keep you, but ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to the one and only Shmeeans.
Hey guys, thank you for having me. Appreciate you so much.
All right, get some rest. We're going to go see them on tour, lettucefunk.com. Just head to the website and you can see the tour.
Hang out with us. Come have some fun. Come play some funk. There to go.
Yeah, man. Let's do it. All right, brother. Thank you. That's it. The one and only Shmeeans, man. Those guys are legends. Sorry that we had the connection issue. Again, you do a live show. That's what happens. You don't have a net. I'll fix it in post and then we'll get the broadcast up there so you can have the interview. I will also be taking this next segment that we have to talk about purple stuff. And I know you guys want to talk about purple stuff. So let's talk about purple stuff. I will separate the two and we'll make sure it's all taken care of when you listen to it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and whatever the next day. All right. For those that came in late, you need to rewatch I found the United Way commercial that I did in 1987, 1988, where I was driving a car and Rob Rhythm was actually in with me and we were, good friends back then, still are. But anyways, I played that commercial. So if you missed it, please go back and watch it. It's hilarious. It's very, very unusual. But anyways, I'm just surprised. Has anybody seen this book here? My mother actually picked this up. If she sees something with Prince on it, she immediately, without a shadow of a doubt, picks it up. And she picked this up, and I think I may have picked it up. It's called Little People, Big Dreams. I don't know why Little People relates to Prince. I mean, I know why it does, but it's not a slight. It's just what this series is called. It's called Little People, Big Dreams, and it's written by Marie Isabel Sanchez Vergara, and it's a kid's book. It is a kid's book on Prince, teaching kids about Prince, and it's actually, it actually has these really funny graphics and stories, and it's really kind of cool. I've never seen anything like this, and I thought, wow, this is really unusual. So I was wondering if anybody else has seen this or if anybody else owns this, but it really gives the story of Prince in a very simplified way. Some of it, like I'll read the first page. It says, Little Prince. This is the page. It says, well, I can actually just hold it up like we're reading a video here, I guess. I can probably read it. Little Prince was the son of, I can't read it that way. Little Prince was the son of a piano player and a jazz singer. He was not born with a crown on his head, but he inherited his father's stage name and the most amazing musical talent ever seen in Minneapolis. And then, of course, it's got this graphic. So it really kind of shows, it's just interesting for a kid's book. If you're interested in checking this out, just go to funkatopia.com/little, Little. Funkatopia. There's the A in there. I know I didn't correct Shmeeans when he did the bumper, but I just don't anymore. It doesn't make a difference. But Funkatopia with an A, FUNKATOPIA.com/little will take you to Amazon where you can actually pick this book up. It's not, I think it's like $10 if that. But it's pretty cool. If you have a younger kid that you'd like to introduce Prince to, there's nothing controversial in there. It's really, really cool. So pick it up. It's fun. Anyways, we already talked about the YouTube comment that I had received from a guy named Kenneth, who really was not happy with the Prince documentary special that I did. Basically said I was just, I don't know. It was like a version of incoherent. I don't know how to explain it. It was just a funny review on that seemed unnecessary. It seemed like it was a little mean. Was it say, first time tuning into this podcast, an honest question. Is the host always this challenged to articulate thought? He appears to continually repeat words over and over while saying nothing. hinting at getting somewhere while hardly getting anywhere. I'm sorry. That is the best. I don't know. I don't know if it's accurate. I'm hoping it's not accurate. I feel like I do repeat words sometimes, but I don't. That was just a funny review. Anyways, I do want to talk about this though, because it's kind of relevant and serves as a really good segue to this graphic. Can somebody tell me where this graphic came from? Essentially, I don't know if they're handing it out at Paisley Park, but it is a, basically it just kind of shows, it's talking about it says Prince, the legacy continues. And it talks about some of the things that they were able to accomplish over the years. And I'm trying to make it larger for myself so I could actually read some of these things that are on this congratulations list. But essentially what it is a document that kind of talks about the things that the estate or oat or whatever it is has accomplished this year. And it says 40th anniversary of Purple Rain. The movie and the album happened this year. His induction into the 2024 Songwriters Hall of Fame. The Apple Music list of the 100 albums of all time, top 100 albums of all time. Prince had 2 albums on there. And Prince was also nominated. Well, the people that put this collection together of the Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe Edition were nominated because it wasn't his material necessarily as it was the way that this box set was kind of put together in a way that made it get nominated for a documentary type of thing. Anyways, a lot of people have seen this graphic, and there's a lot of folks that are just kind of fussing, it's not enough. But as both Londell and Charles have told me individually many times, people have no idea what's going on in the background with a lot of stuff, like with releases and the rights to music and just the legal trappings and all that stuff. But here's what I can tell you. And when I say you, I'm talking about people either in the state or the legacy. I don't even know what it is anymore. It's oat or legacy. There's a primary wave component. It's just so many. Anyways, here's what I can tell you. The majority of what I'm seeing complaint wise is regarding new releases and specifically unreleased material. I think we all know that. And it always comes up. Anytime that you tune into any Prince podcast, there was always discussions about unreleased music or things that are coming. And I was just watching D'Angela L. Duff's podcast, and my good friend Dwayne Tudall was on there, and he brought up how people really want a Madhouse box set. And I guess that box set would contain 8, 16, and 24. Although most of the tracks that would have been on 24 are actually on Eric Leeds' album Times Squared. It's just they were given names as opposed to numbers when they made it over to Eric's thing. But again, that was just talk. But those are the types of things that come up on a regular basis. I mean, how many of you have mentioned to me before, I would love to see a Parade Super Deluxe Edition or an Around the World Super Deluxe Edition. You've got these albums. I mean, I know, let me just say this. I know that they're focused on, and we're going to talk about this too, the Celebration 2025 is refocusing on, it's refocusing on the 40th anniversary of Purple Rain. It's Purple Rain 2.0 is what the email essentially said. I actually have the verbiage from that email, and I'll read it to you. But, the 40th anniversary of Purple Rain was 1984. 1985 right now, this year is the 40th anniversary of Around the World in a Day. 1986 will be Parade. 1987 will be Sign of the Times. We already got a box set. I think that actually technically is considered a box set that we've already got for that. I don't know if they'll come up with a super deluxe edition when it hits its 40th in 2027. Then after that, in 88, you have Love Sexy. Then you have Batman. Then Graffiti Bridge, and on and on and on. So there's all these 40th anniversaries, but let's not also forget that there is 30th anniversaries that are happening as well. This year is the 30th anniversary of the Gold Experience. Last year was the 30th anniversary of Come. I mean, so you've got all these albums that are experiencing significant anniversaries. And I didn't even technically even look at I mean, I don't think there was any albums released in 2000. Well, Raven to the Year. Anyways, but that didn't come out until that was 1999. I think it actually came out before. Anyways, the point being, there are a lot of significant anniversaries for albums coming up, and I think that people are just kind of I guess people are just kind of feeling some sort of way that they're maybe more concerned that this stuff isn't going to be released. Before I kind of move forward with this conversation, I do want to say this, because there's a bottom section to this that I'm going to show you, make it a little bit bigger, because they talked about what we're going to be looking forward to in 2025. Obviously, they're doing some revamping of the Purple Rain tour. They're bringing a bunch of new artifacts out for the Purple Rain Museum. So there's new information and new artifacts and new different things from the Purple Rain era that are going to be happening at Paisley Park. And of course, as I mentioned, it's going to be Purple Rain 2.0 that's going to be happening at the celebration. I talk about this probably very, very frequently because, as I mentioned, and I'll avoid being redundant as I possibly can, but there's really nothing there. I don't know what else that they can do to kind of capitalize on the Purple Rain 2.0, outside of an Apollonia 6 reunion or, another box set with maybe the movie score. I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to talk any more about that, but they do say on this bottom section of this graphic, new Prince music. Obviously, the Purple Rain musical is coming. It's happening in late 2025 into 2026. And then what's interesting here, and I don't know if you guys caught this on the graphic, is the last bullet on here is the Prince documentary. It says the Prince documentary is coming in 2026, 2027. We just entered 2025. If it's going to be in 2026, 2027, that means that we literally are just under 2 years away before we're going to see this Prince documentary. And we don't know what this editing is going to be, but they're indicating that's what's coming in 2026 and 2020. Well, it says 2026/2027, which indicates to me they're thinking late 2026 going into 2027 is the window. So Q4 of 26, Q1 of 27 is going to be the window that they're striving for, which is 2 years from now. And I think here's the thing about that is what's problematic in my mind about that is this is all stuff that we don't know, but here's what we do know. When Ezra Edelman, when he was given the keys to make this documentary, he basically was given full access to the vault. Now, I do not know this to be fact, so take it as rumor and conjecture without any proof, however you want to label it. But that's apparently something, there is apparently something in that contract between Netflix and the estate or whoever signed the contract that keeps new music from coming out. Now, it was specifically concert footage that I heard denoted. And the hint that I got to that effect was actually from John Bream, the infamous journalist in Minneapolis. Specifically, he said in an interview, he said, Donnie English, this is a quote, Donnie English speculated that the real answer is internal strife in the Prince legacy, whereas all concert footage is on hold until after that contracted Netflix documentary. So, all concert footage. So, what possibly could be happening here, since it specifically talks about that, is that there may be a possibility that it goes beyond just concert footage. It could be that the music that's tied to some unreleased material that maybe falls under this rule or contract post. I don't know. That being the case, it could well mean that this Netflix doc is the reason why we're not being given any new unreleased material. It's not something groundbreaking. We've speculated on this before, but it is something that was backed up by what John Bream had said. And if we're not going to be getting this Netflix documentary until late 2026, early 2027, it really honestly could be, unless they're working something out, again, things that we don't know, it really could be 2 years before we see any new unreleased music. Let's hope that's not true. And to be fair, the reason why this Netflix document wasn't released was because of the Prince Legacy LLC or whatever, squashing it because of the content. But if they hadn't done that, the doc probably would already have been out and that dam of music would probably be opened. But myself and a lot of Prince fans, we took a step back and said, maybe that's a good thing, because we don't want anything really negative to kind of be revealed about Prince when he has no way to defend himself, and we don't know what they're going to say and whatever. Even so, anyways, doesn't matter. That's where we are. That whole situation with the documentary, and I'm hoping that it's not true, that there's music and other stuff that's being tied up with this documentary, especially with them telling us that it's now looking at 2026, 2027. I don't want to be waiting 2 years from now to get new material. And I think that they already know they have to have had worked something out. They had to have sat at the table with Netflix or whoever and said, or whoever that statement is from, and said, here's what we're going to release. Are you using that? Yes, no. Because there's no way the intense amount of pressure that, even specifically Londell and Charles have taken for 2024 and the lack of any new releases, they're hearing it. They're hearing it. And I just cannot see them putting themselves in that position for another 2 years. I just can't see them doing that, especially when you have Celebration 2025 and assuming Celebration 2026 that are going to be happening, where the world of Prince fans descends upon Minneapolis and will give them an earful. So I don't, I guess we're about to see. I guess we're going to find out. That's just crazy to me, but I'm hoping that there's a bunch of different things that are going to be going on. But I can tell you, I do have the email from Paisley Park about Celebration 2025. And what's interesting about it is that, they've made the announcement about Celebration 2025. The dates are set. So if you haven't, okay, here's what I can tell you. If you haven't been to Celebration as a Prince fan, you owe it to yourself to do it, because the first time is always special. It really, really is. I'm not saying that the times after that are not as special, but they're not as special as the first time you go, because that's when you get into a bubble in Chanhassen and all the different locations and parties that happen, and you are surrounded by fellow Prince fans, and there's nothing like it. It is cathartic. There's just nothing like it. And so if you haven't made the plans, you need to start thinking about the plans, because the dates were already announced like a long time ago, like months ago, which was fantastic to me. But the dates have been named for June 5th through June 9th. So make plans. And what I can suggest to you is get there a day early. If you've never been, you'll want to come a day early, because most of the events that happen on the first day, which is June 5th, normally will start about 10 a.m. and you don't want to be flying in from wherever you're flying in from. You need to get into town, rest, grab something to eat, get some rest, because you're going to need it. And then stay till June 10th. So plan for June 4th through June 10th, because here's the other thing too, is that even if you don't go to the celebration, which I've heard mixed stuff, so I'm not going to go into that, but I will say that once again, if you've never been here, or not saying here because I'm in Atlanta, but if you've never been to Minneapolis and Chanhassen, what I can tell you is that the celebration and what they do is not the only thing that happens in that town. A lot of other parties and events get planned during that week, so that once you're done doing your festivities during the day for the celebration, you can then go to, maybe Jesse Johnson is playing at Bunkers. Maybe Jelly Bean Johnson is doing one of his deals over at Minnesota Music Cafe. You never know. Anybody could be dropping in anyway. Liv Warfield and, the members of Third Eye Girl might be doing a jam session at Dakota's. You just don't know. And it all happens during that week. Maybe Paul Peterson and Eric Leeds are doing an LP show at a random club. You don't know. So a lot of people do come during that week, and some don't even go to the celebration. They just kind of enjoy and take in all the sights and do all the landmarks and whatnot, and then go to those different events. And that's kind of what they do. Or you could do the celebration, but either way, you need to come. Even if you're not happy with what's going on, come during that week, hang out. There will be tons of other events that are going to be happening all around town during that week. You'll have stuff to do. It's almost like you'd be going to a celebration, but the celebration is very, very specific. You get a lot of insight and background information, and I would highly suggest it. It's a lot of fun. Celebration is a lot of fun. Anyways, June 5th through June 9th is when they have scheduled this. It's already on. So I will say, hats off for making the announcement so early. It was like a month after 2024 celebration had ended that they made that. So thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and for all of our fans that are worldwide, that are coming from Australia or coming from Europe or wherever you're coming from. All those people need that type of time frame to be able to start planning and start saving, because you can't, thank you for making the announcement so early in advance. That was very, very helpful. As I mentioned, Celebration 2025 is being labeled as the Year of Purple Rain, and they're calling the Celebration 2025 Purple Rain 2.0, and it says start planning your outfits now. So I guess there's going to be, it could be anything. It does say the Celebration 2025 will be in both downtown Minneapolis and Paisley Park, and that after the last celebration, everybody just kind of liked it because it kind of split things up, and they're going to be doing it again. And they're going to be doing tours that are longer time and more extensive tour offerings. There's a lot of stuff that's happening. I'm not going to go through this whole entire list, but just know there's a lot coming in 2025. And I don't know if anything will be tied up or if there's anything different that's going to be happening. We don't know. But we do know that Celebration 2025 is coming. That we know. We do know there's new Prince music coming up, but we don't really know what new Prince music means, because we did actually get 3 singles released this year that were remixes of certain songs. And technically that was new Prince music. I'm hoping that's not what they mean. I'm hoping that they mean that it's going to be new Prince music. actual new Prince music. And we got a little bit more speculation into what is going on with the Netflix documentary, which is now slated for 26, 27. So 2 years from now. I don't know what kind of things that you guys would want to see or what you would enjoy seeing, but let me just say, you need to let those people know. Send some messages to Londell on Twitter or Charles or Spicer, but let them know. I mean, go to their Instagram accounts, message them there. They don't respond obviously because they're very busy men, but you got to let them know in advance of what you're wanting. And I think, as I said, the majority of people say we just want unreleased music. That's it. That's what we want. Unreleased music. I agree. Anyways, that's really all I had for you tonight. I wanted to make sure that we got to hang out, and it's going to be a lot of fun because next week we have the one and only D-Vibes on the show from Watermelon Funk. He's going to be joining us. I don't know if Garrett Scheider will drop in also. That would be awesome. But D-Vibes is going to be on the show next week. Please make sure that you join us. It's going to be an amazing, amazing show. Tomorrow, you'll be able to listen to this interview that I did with Adam, as well as the Purple News as well, on iHeart, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Odyssey, wherever you listen to your broadcast and whatnot. And I will make sure that I edit out the parts where he dropped out, so it will seem like one consistent interview. So if you know of any Lettuce fans, please make sure that you go and check that out. Also, as I mentioned, if you want to pick up this book, this Little People, Big Dreams book of Prince, it's a children's book on Prince. You can go to funkatopia.com/little, Little, and check that out as well. And I will see you guys next week. This is actually a shorter show tonight, but it's okay. That's perfectly fine. This is what a normal podcast length should be. It shouldn't be 3 hours, but sometimes when we get on a roll and we're having a good time, it just ends up that way. So sorry about that. Anyways, I hope you guys had a great night. We will see you next week as we welcome D-Vibes from Watermelon Funk. And please let me know if there's anything that you would like to hear or anything that you would like to see or any guest that you would like to see on here. And if you have any personal connections with some of these guests, please let me know. Please email me at funkatopia@gmail.com. Again, that's FUNKATOPIA@gmail.com. And help me make some connections. We love to get lots of different types of people on the show, especially, Purple related, but also just funk in general, as you've experienced tonight, as we welcome Shmeeans from Lettuce, and next week, D-Vibes from Watermelon Funk. And we're working on the 21st. We have a couple people that are already in line. So pretty much almost all of January is getting booked up. So I hope you guys are ready. I'm going to continue doing these shows for you, and I hope you're having a good time. And just want to make sure that making your Tuesday nights as entertaining as possible. I mean, what else are you going to do on Tuesday nights? Is there really anything to do on Tuesday nights? I don't think there is. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next week with D-Vibes from Watermelon Funk. Good night, everyone.